Now we're cutting into the top cut for today's tournament. We're here for Windborne. It's still Hangman and Team Eggs on the mic, and now it's time to see the Sentinel team kill.
Well, the good news is they're both on winner's side, which means they still will get one more time to kill each other.
Nice!
Regardless, we will have a second team kill in winners finals, regardless of who wins.
Nice!
Because MSB is on the other side of winners finals going up against IDK, but we are going to get ourselves into the counter picks here, or rather the striking.
Yes. Let's see what game one has for us as we start things for Lucius versus Akashi. Probably, I would say, Ocean? Yeah, Ocean start. To the port we go! So I'm almost certain these two play, like, all the time. I think every time that I've either traveled with or have seen them at an event for Rivals, they're just side by side. So if there's anyone to be familiar with their styles, it has to be each other. But at least on paper, you have, once again, the matchup of two mobile characters who are able to control space at a distance very well and then can close that distance very aggressively. How each other chooses to do so, I suppose we got to see how the set pans out. Although I wouldn't be surprised if as the set moves along, we see Lucius take more of the defensive role and Akashi take more of the aggressor role, as that just tends to be how they naturally play the game.
You can already tell this is going to be a more calculated set than what we've seen earlier today. You get almost a full minute to take the first stock.
Yeah, you have to consider, like, on top of good aggressive play that's behind both the players, the characters themselves just have very strong defensive kits. Like, with all of that speed that Ranno has, you also have that speed to be able to just peel back, keep space with needles, pick and choose when you want to go in for your combos. And likewise, for all of that movement that's available to Absa, she could just move around the cloud, try to keep a lot of that airspace to her own so that when Lucius does mess up at some point with his movement, Akashi could just cash in full. But both of these game plans are both predicated on the idea of being patient at its core. No back air out of the bubble. Misspaced from Lucius, but no harm done. That was a really well-timed pop of the cloud. Given the fact that Lucius is consistently mixing up how he moves around, I'm pretty impressed.
Akashi has shown us all tournament that he can just put the cloud anywhere he wants and he'll make something fun happen with it. Or just edge guard you out of existence.
Yeah, good cloud placement and decision making is paramount to playing Absa at the top level. Like, this is a character whose hypotheticals like go onto like never-ending lists of what you could do when you consider how she moves around and what the cloud is capable of. Very aggressive return to stage there with the up special.
Akashi knows that Lucius really doesn't have any percentage to play with here, so has to play kind of defensive and back off on aggression just to make sure that he doesn't get caught out. Great use of the bubble there to get back to stage, but it isn't enough.
Yeah, just Akashi making sure to stay on the hunt there. Knows that the bubble's going to interrupt the first attempt at kill, but that bubble's got to pop eventually.
Endless Abyss is stricken down, gates are stricken down, and we're going to tree.
All right, not a bad pick. Again, we've seen this a couple of times now for counter pick against Akashi. Like, the cloud is able to have a lot of impact, but if you rush down Absa, there's really no breathing room off stage on this on tree.
So think about it from like an edge guarding situation. You have two different ledges you can kind of go for. So you're going to see Akashi's going to try to get that cloud to cover both options.
It's also a stage where you, as Absa, oddly enough, you want to stay a bit grounded. Very counterintuitive to her typical game plan, but you get so much off of up tilt and like very low sitting up airs that you don't want to commit to your best movement options as frequently, which is part and why Spirit Tree is so good against Absa. Not completely overwhelming to her kit, but it does force the hand of the Absa player to be a bit more selective with how they move around. And anything that Ranno has to stop your ability to find your hit confirms is important, because you find yourself in situations like that. Let's see. What's the option here? Some needles. Changing up the angle and forward tilt to extend the play. Ooh, nice mix. Very simple return to the stage. But Lucius is staying on the hunt. Very persistent in this edge guard from one side to the other. And a little bit of bubble play. Leave that there, see if it comes into play at some point. On the hunt for the forward air for the early kill. Would have been nice, but no dice. Gets the grab. Only a couple of downwards to go. Or forward airs, rather. Great parry. That was a really aggressive call from Akashi on the charged cloud.
One stock, even up.
Yup. Ooh. The forward strong just for a bit of damage, and also the stacks of poison. A good call from Lucius. It's another thing about Ranno that's really good when it comes to this defensive play, is that damage over time just historically forces the hand of anyone. Like, you need to stay persistent to keep up in that damage race. That was a really good parry. Oh, that was so good. Taking advantage of Ranno's ground speed to catch up to the cloud and then find the landing afterwards. Very good adaptations from Lucius give us the 1-1 count as we move right along to Forest 4 for game 3. The stage a bit more on the congested end with the way that the platforms are laid out. Akashi can offer a lot of control with Cloud depending on placing, and there's a lot of wiggle room for where to place the Cloud here. On top of that, you just sort of find combo extensions on the platform. So, like, do not be surprised if Akashi just manages to completely rip a stock away from Lucius. Down strong to defend that space beneath the platforms. And forward strong to clean up the stock. That bubble can take a lot of abuse. There was nowhere, absolutely nowhere that Lucius can move himself. Like, he really tried everything to reposition, but really good job on Akashi staying persistent in the edge guard. Ooh, where are we going? Those needles almost leading into forward air. That air dodge almost led into a second up air. It would have been curtains. I'm not going to lie, I would have popped. But still, Akashi staying on the hunt to keep this pressure up. It's exactly what you need to do, because a player like Lucius lets, like, the momentum slide from you by just a little bit, and then all of a sudden you struggle so much with finding even ground. Like how Lucius is trying to keep the pressure up, but making sure not to overextend so he doesn't take too much damage. Good DI from Akashi, making the second stock really go down to the last drop. Look, again. Completely face-tanking all of these attempts at edge guarding. Does manage to get a little bit of damage onto Lucius for his efforts. Yo, forward tilt to Cloud and up air? This goat's dangerous. There's a couple of needles. Just trying to force the situation, but such good extensions from Akashi. Just waiting for patience to let out just a little too much. All right. Game 4. Interesting dance. All right. So Jules Vale ends up being the choice for Game 4, which we've already seen how this has been a good stage for both of these guys as the tournament's gone on today. But seeing how it has to operate against each other, I think, is going to be the more interesting part. I do feel like this is going to favor Lucius a bit more just because there's so many movement options available to Ranno if Ranno is to stay aggressive. Just because of the platform and the movement extensions that you get with side special off plat. Also the second platform, the little one on the top there, does offer a little bit of relief. Good forward tilt to catch to try and slow down Akashi a little bit. All the while trying to keep up the pressure with charging the needles, but misses the parry punish. Manages to pick up the pace, though. Isn't slipping for too long. It's still a tied stock count, though. Throughout all of today's event, Akashi's been doing a good job of making sure to tie up any stock deficits the moment they occur. A couple of forward airs looking mighty dangerous. Lucius tried to get really aggressive there, but now he's got the safety of his bubble.
A relative safety.
Yeah, but you know that's one of the good things about it is that like Akashi stays on the hunt and like even though he knows how much longer that edgeguard situation lasts because of the bubble, like Lucius is still able to make it a safer situation. And if you have that level of safety against someone who knows full and well what you're capable of, that's just the mark of like a good player. Like the amount of respect between both of these players is pretty noticeable. That was just beautiful coverage. That was beautiful coverage from Akashi. Gonna take the set 3-1, hop on over to winners finals.